face and start kicking ass, just like it said at the beginning of the program.
Man of the hour, tower of power, too sweet to be sour.
Sending your ass on the jabroni jet to the other side of the territory, brother.
The Alabama Hammer.
Nightmares on the best part of my day.
The goods from the woods.
Hot damn!
Welcome to the Goods from the Woods. My name is Rivers Langley.
I'm Pat Riley.
I'm Sam Harder.
And joining us today, my friend from the great state of Alabama, currently residing in Chicago, but on his way to Hollywood, baby, our friend.
My name is Blake Hamilton.
There he is. Hello, Blake. How you doing, man?
Doing well, thanks. Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, I didn't know you were in Chicago now. I guess that's where you
Well,
picked
yeah.
up on the jacket.
Should have
from.
clarified.
Yeah. I met you in Auburn, I think, right?
Yes, I think I approached you at the Boogie one time, and you gave me a bewildered look, like, "Who is this motherfucker?" But yeah.
That's right.
I was in Auburn for the better part of a decade.
Okay,
so
yeah, that's
we
right.
knew a lot of the same people.
Sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, now you're doing some stand-up up there in Chicago, doing a bit of acting, and then and making your way slowly out here. I know you just
Yeah.
moved your better half into Sherman Oaks.
Exactly. So, I already have 1 foot of the relationship in Los Angeles, so now I just have to make it happen.
Yeah.
So very, very stressful, as you can imagine.
Sure.
Great time to podcast.
Yeah.
Wise use of my time today. 1 weekend I'm here before I move. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so one thing about LA, we actually do have, and I'm sure you've noticed, we have a lot of kind of unique to Los Angeles, I don't know why I added a T to that, fast food experiences.
Is Los Angeles the blog?
It is. It's a
Okay.
website.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, LAist, yeah. But yeah, no, we've got your In-N-Out Burger, classically. We've got your Los Pollos Camperos. We've got your El Pollo Loco. Like, there's a lot of places out here. A lot of them are Mexican-style chicken places that they just don't have back east. So this is a Pat invention. So
Yeah.
Pat has physically built a wheel,
Yeah, I have.
like the caveman of yore.
Yeah, except
Pat
for the
came in
caveman
with
of
the
yore.
wheel.
Caveman of yore wanted to do something utilitarian with that wheel.
Yeah, they made it into a barrow.
Yeah, this is purely conceptual. You know? This is kind of maybe the opposite. I don't know. But hopefully it has as much of an effect on human history as the first wheel did.
Oh, I think it's going to.
Yeah,
It's
so-
beautiful. First of all, your craftsmanship.
multicolored.
You're making Pat Sajak weep. Fuck
but-
the other Pat. It's all about Dr. Pat now.
Yeah. But the thing is that we're a bunch of big boys here.
Yes,
Big
sir.
boys with big appetites.
Hey,
Big
Well, speak for
boys
yourself,
with
come on.
non-discriminating appetites.
yeah, I think that's the more important point.
And so what the premise of this episode is called The Wheel of Fast Food.
Yes, sir.
And
Oh, good. I ate at McDonald's today.
Hell yeah.
this guy was doing homework. And what it is on this wheel there are a number of topics for which each of us will take a spin, make a list of the top 3 or 5 if it'd be too hard to pare it down to 3. And then we'll share and give praise or give derision where needed.
Okay.
So I figured that since it's Rivers probably has the
I'm the fattest, so obviously I will have the strongest opinions of the group.
So anyway, we'll do the first spin of the Wheel of Fast Food. So on here is about, I'd say 25 possible themes.
I mean,
Jesus.
you spent. Oh, I mean, you were updating me as the process of building this thing was going on.
Yeah.
Somebody earned a PhD writing this thing. Or
Pat. I mean, look, this is the dedication of that Pat has
PhDs
here.
in something else.
Yeah, in wheel making.
You never said what your doctorate was
Well, I mean,
in, so I didn't know.
honestly, there's a funny thing where there's like a freshman 15, there's like a PhD 30. Especially when you're writing your dissertation and you're trying to get that thing done, and all you're doing is just like eating like crap and just sitting in front of the computer all the time. Oh, I put on a real unflattering 30 when I was finishing up my last year of grad school. My parents saw me before my graduation. I had gained a decent amount of weight, and I also had I had the mustache then too. and I had messed up in trimming it, so I had the line mustache, like the straight up,
like a Vincent Price.
yeah, the cigar,
Yeah.
the
Like
cigar.
Clark Gable or something.
Yeah, like the thick, like kind of Steve Harvey mustache.
Oh, that kind.
yeah,
Oh, okay, now I understand.
So I had like 2 chins and a mustache, and I just looked like I worked at a stereo store. You know? So I looked real bad.
Your dissertation was brought to you by Popeyes.
Yeah.
Right.
But what I
So
was saying is, you started building this wheel in 2017, and we're just now.
yeah, dude.
It's huge.
2 years.
We actually had to remove.
I had to buy tools.
We had to remove the sliding glass door of this room in
Basically,
Disgraceland to load this wheel into the
Basically,
the studio.
this wheel is the wheel from Price is Right.
Yes, that's right. Yeah,
I got a surplus one, and I had to retrofit it.
Yeah.
You know, so instead of it being dollar amounts, it's themes for fast food.
Yes, sir.
based lists.
Yes, it
So
is.
Rivers,
okay.
you want to take a spin?
Yeah. Let's give it a spin.
The worst overall fast food restaurants.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, that's
So,
a
yeah.
tough
Big,
one.
yeah.
That's a tough
Yeah,
one.
That-
so-
wow, that's
Diving right in here.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we're gonna get into some real controversial territory starting out.
Okay, I guess if it has to be worst overall, my just gut reaction is to definitely put McDonald's on this list, but
Oh,
McDonald's is saved by its breakfast.
Exactly.
So that's why in the worst overall department I cannot include McDonald's in this list. And
Also, as a man who ate McDonald's this morning, I would just like to say they changed their burgers up recently. Are
Really?
you guys aware
No,
of this?
no.
They're trying to copy Wendy's and hey, we don't feed you slime garbage. And so they're using what they claim is 100% beef again. And I think it does taste better.
They're serving they're serving rhombus shaped burgers.
do they have to say again?
If they're not saying again, I'm
Oh,
saying
okay.
it.
I would love if that was in the marketing. Like, hey, we're back to beef again. Like, what the fuck have we been eating for
Well, yeah,
40
they have,
years?
like soy filler in it, but the thing
Yeah.
that's great about the 100% beef is that pink slime still counts as beef. So,
Beef product, right?
yeah.
If you get a quarter pounder with cheese, it's pink in the middle.
Really?
Yeah, like they try to make it like fancy. Like
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
what?
True. Yeah.
I don't. Is it pink because it's slightly rare in the middle, or is it pink because
they
it's been
colored it that way.
engineered to be
Yeah.
pink in the
And
middle?
that's why
probably
it's,
both.
That's why it's tremendous. That's
Yeah.
why.
That's why we stand in awe.
Yeah,
Points
that's
for
why-
detail. You got to give them.
Yeah, that's where the devil is. But yeah, if you put McDonald's on that list, I would have screamed and hollered. So, Rivers, your top 3.
Okay, so coming in at number 3,
Yeah.
and they get slight points, and which is why they're not number 1, but number 3. And they get the slight points because they have a situation where you can get egg rolls instead of fries, and that is Jack in the Box.
Yeah.
Jack in the Box, in a pinch, will do because I give them points for their variety of their menu, but nothing they do is especially quality.
I've been a Jack in the Box fan over the years.
No, that's the sad part is I have too, but mainly because they're 24 hours.
That's the great
Yeah.
part about them. I used to live 1 block away from a Jack in the Box and was a complete alcoholic.
and now we're
So-
2 blocks. Now we're only 2 blocks from a Jack in the
Yeah.
Box right here.
So, as someone who's only lived around, let's call it Jack in the Box country for 3 years of my life, how would you differentiate it from, say, like a Checkers or a Rally's? Like,
You can get Chinese food.
Oh,
Jack
there
in
you
the Box.
Yeah, they have weird.
You know that phrase, Jack of all trades, master of none?
Yeah.
Jack in the Box.
Yeah.
Right there. That's the
Gotcha.
Jack and Jack in a
It should be called Master of Box. Yeah, it's not.
They have tacos.
Yeah, they have tacos that
Did
are
I ever tell you the Jack in the Box taco story?
possibly, but go ahead.
Okay, I remember one time I was going to, taking a flight up to Connecticut.
Oh, you did tell us this. The guy in Charlotte. Stopped
yeah.
Yeah.
Some guy in Charlotte that looked like comic book guy from The Simpsons, but with a gnarly beard, was waiting in line, and we had gotten our flight was just canceled, so we were waiting in line, and I was smelling something weird, and this
and
guy
yet oddly familiar.
Yeah, and yet oddly familiar. And like this guy was holding two extremely greasy paper bags with the Jack in the
Go
Box
on.
logo, and he was just like, "Yeah, I was telling my friends about Jack in the Box tacos, and they don't believe me, so I decided to bring up 24 of them to my friends up in Connecticut."
I brought my friends 24 pieces of garbage.
Yeah, but it's funny because since it was delayed, it was like these folks would end up with like 10-hour-old Jack in the Box
my-
tacos
this
as
is a
opposed
nightmare.
to
These tacos are
Fire-
garbage after 60 seconds.
These are the tacos they serve in hell.
yeah.
This reminds me of like when people make really romantic gestures and fly to like New York for a steak or whatever. Except this is like the redneck version of that.
Right.
Yeah.
I brought you tacos 10 hours ago.
Yeah.
Well, it's not even redneck. That's the thing. It's like at one point, Jack in the Box was a kind of nationwide chain, and then they poisoned everybody in the early 90s, and they had to scale back a little bit.
Oh yeah, they got hit with the E. coli thing. Really, to
Yeah.
steal a pronunciation from Nick Thomas.
The E. coli.
E. coli, but no, I mean those bags looked like if you
That's like
went,
one of Mitt Romney's kids.
This
or
is-
one of Sarah Palin's kids.
the bags look like if you ever did like landscaping work during the summer when you're in high school in the South, and what your shirt looked like at the end of an 8-hour shift. That's what those bags look like.
Oh, yeah.
Our bags are now made out of 100% pit stains.
Yeah. Oh, it was just like like the bags could have been full of pit stains.
Yeah, the bags
honestly.
looked like Bruce Springsteen's shirts.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the tacos there are so good. If you get them fresh, they taste so good.
Yeah.
They're crispy. Oh my god.
See, I think this is well that's another issue is there's so many Jack in the Boxes that like the quality is really dependent on the location.
That's very true.
and so like I mean we live
But what's bad about Jack in the Box? You've just extolled their.
I mean, well, that's the thing. It's the hard thing about making a list of worst overall fast food because no matter what, it's like even if I say it's the shittiest on the planet, I've probably eaten it within the past year at some point, just out of necessity, just from being on the road.
The munchie meal is the best deal in fast food. Can we talk about that?
Is that Jack in the Box as well? Or?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
see,
yeah.
I'm totally ignorant on
The
Jack
weird
in the
thing
Box.
about the munchie meal is when they first, I don't know if they still do this, but when they first did it, they insisted on their ad campaign using what seemed to be average point and shoot digital cameras with a flash on to take the pictures of the food.
Yeah.
Like, and they did it on purpose where it was like late night. And the whole like kind of crux of the advertisement was like, they don't want you to eat this because you'll die early. You know, they don't want you to eat this because
The
of
man doesn't want you to have
hypertension. But, you know, you don't give a shit. It's like, we won't tell anyone what you do late at night at Jack in the Box. And then they would show like a camera flash, like a paparazzi, and it would be the food, but they would use like seemingly not model food, but like the actual meal. So on the TV, it was like a flash. So it was like stark lighting and very sweaty and like weird looking.
Sounds a little malicious, like a kidnapping or something.
yeah. The sandwich was holding today's paper. Yeah. No, but it was very much like, you know, we won't tell anybody what you do at this drive-through. Like they know their clientele so well because it's what we're talking about. It's like, you know, it's
You're a late night drive-through place. You know, you're just serving people
Yeah.
who are drunk
Who else?
driving.
Yeah.
and they're high off weed.
And like Denny's had to come out like 2 weeks ago and say, yes, we are accepting of stoners. And I was like, why is this a necessary? Like, it's implied. You're open 24 hours. I don't know.
well, and also,
Well,
it's
no, I mean, but it's the whole thing of people like,
cops
oh yeah,
are always in there.
yeah, it's like,
right,
oh yeah,
right.
people totally smoke Swisher Sweets. You know, yeah, people actually smoke Dutch Masters. It's not for weed.
So they're saying we're not going to narc you out to the cops on the other side of the restaurant, basically.
exactly,
Okay, gotcha.
exactly.
coming in at number 2, and again, it's a place I've eaten a bunch, and there is still one in Auburn. We talked about it in our jam band episode because there was a racial incident that occurred there a couple years ago.
Oh, no.
So go back to episode 98 if you want to hear all about that. But coming in at number 2, and I know Pat's on board with this, no pun intended, Captain D's.
Oh, Captain D's is terrible.
Never heard of it.
Oh my God,
Oh,
Captain
really?
D's.
Oh, boy.
Yes,
Oh.
explain it to a guy like me.
Yeah,
who's
so
never heard of this.
So
place.
Captain D is, I assume they have them in Florida, right?
They must.
Oh yeah, they
Yeah,
do.
'cause they got them in
Florida
Alabama.
restaurant there is.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's 2 of them in Auburn, or I guess there's one
For
in
those
Auburn,
of you that
one in
don't know,
Opelika.
D stands for dog shit. Captain Dog Shits.
what kind of food?
It's seafood.
Yeah,
It's fast seafood. It's like
if you can take a Long John Silver's and somehow make it worse,
Ooh,
that's Captain
That's
D's.
tough.
Here's
Yeah.
well, there's a reason I didn't say LSJ. You know what I mean? Like
I know.
yeah,
Respect.
or
Come on,
LJS
sorry.
rather.
yeah, the thing with Captain D's that I just marvel at every time I've seen Captain D's food. Like, it's one of those restaurants that I know somebody that eats at Captain D's and loves it.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
whenever I am
Oh, yeah.
like
My parents, they were running a good special on the fried shrimp there
Yeah.
for a while, and my mom was just like, "Hey, here's $20. Just get everybody Captain D's," and I would go and get the special again. To the problem of making a list like this, I fucking have eaten there a bunch. It's
Yeah.
but it's just it's a price point.
But
you know?
the thing is, the thing about it is I've gone to Captain D's and have literally sat there and not eaten anything, and watched my friend eat Captain D's, and then like stopped off at another restaurant after the fact. It's amazing how their fried food has this weird tint that's like the color of
the sea during a storm.
no, like the ooze from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's like this green tint that covers the hush puppies, covers the fish fingers, covers the fries. It's just like I don't know what they're if they're frying it in ecto cooler or something like that.
They use the river water from the Chicago River on St. Patrick's Day to fry it.
Yeah.
I've never done ketamine, but I imagine that's what it's like. Just sitting at a Captain D's watching someone else eat their
They call
food.
that being stuck in a D hole.
I mean, it's one of those things where they probably back 3 years ago were just like, yeah, we're running down on hard times, so we got to cut corners. So we're gonna get all this fish that died of red tide, and then we're just gonna.
Arr, come aboard! It's a jubilee. Captain
It's like,
D's.
it's easy to catch.
Every meal's an adventure. Arr.
Oh yeah,
We guarantee our fish sticks are made from the slowest, dumbest fish in the sea.
yeah. I mean, really, the
D stands for Darwinism.
I mean, the demarcation between the
The
restaurant.
captain demarcation.
Yeah, the demarcation between the restaurant itself and the dumpster is just merely a suggestion of Captain D's. Because Captain D's is rough. I've eaten Captain D's literally one time, and I got food poisoning from it literally one time.
Wow.
What'd you have?
Like just the captain's platter sort of
Yeah.
Do
thing.
they have anything other than just fish sticks?
It's like
fries?
yeah, they got well. So all right, so our big thing when we would get food there, my family, because they ran this special for it was like we had like a summer of Captain D's where just like for some reason they were running like it was like $10 for like a shitload of fried shrimp and fries and a drink, and so like my parents like if they just didn't want to cook, this was I think it was like. I was still in high school when this was going on, so it must have been like 11th grade because I always had to drive to pick it up, and my mom would be like, "All right, here's money, go get us dinner." And so we had like a summer of Captain D's and fried.
The
Well,
longest summer ever.
well, here's the thing though, like fried shrimp is my favorite food. Like number one, no contest. That is my favorite food.
But
on
is
the
this one
planet.
of those places where it's just like a fish stick shrimp?
Oh, they're
you know?
gross. Yeah.
There's just like chopped up pieces of shrimp that the
Oh,
machine took off.
don't get me started on the fried clam promotion they had for a short time.
Yeah.
Even the photo of the model food looked real gnarly.
That's such a bummer that they tried to do clams.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
no way that can be good.
Shellfish. Let's bring shellfish into it.
Yeah, but yeah. So my number two is Captain D's. A lot of the breading to sea meat ratio is way too fucking low. Way too high.
Yeah.
But yeah, and coming in at number one, and I gotta say it pains me to say this because I used to be a big fan. Subway.
Yeah, Subway's
Ooh.
rough.
Yeah,
Fucking bad.
I have not, and I was because I was trying to think of a number one, and Subway is a restaurant that I think there's like just a what they call in poetry a volta where everything changes.
Yeah.
For me, and I was eating Subway consistently up until about 2011 when they turned the $5 footlong into the permanent thing, and that is really the beginning of like the downfall of Subway. I mean, obviously the child molestation and all that happened too with Jared Fogle, but quality of food wise, it really, I guess those kind of coincided of the rise of evil Jared. But
I realized I needed to lose 500 pounds if I was going to keep molesting children.
I couldn't run quick enough from the authorities. So.
Yeah, Subway is gnarly.
yeah, and it's become like, especially now. I mean, you go to any Subway in LA, it's one of the few places where the lobby is open 24/7. There's a lot of places in LA where the drive-through might be a 24/7 situation, but that lobby is locked the fuck up. Subway, no such situation. So you go in there and it is dire. It is people.
There's so many subways in LA. It's insane how many subways we have in this city.
Just on, well, I mean, we're just off of Vermont Avenue here. Just on Vermont, they're almost like every 2 blocks. There's a fucking subway on both going both directions on Vermont.
Their bread, their rolls are pool noodles.
Yoga mats, actually.
I used to have multiple friends who worked at Subway, and they would say after they had
Sandwich
to
artist,
make
Sam.
the bread, they would have to like fuck with the dough that comes in like frozen or whatever.
Yeah.
They
Oh, God.
said it was the worst smell. They wanted to throw up every single day.
Oh, yeah.
And I've worked in restaurants. When you bake bread, you're not supposed to have a gross smell coming out of it.
Baking bread is like one of my top 10 smells.
Yeah, that's up there with like freshly cut lawn or gasoline or
Yeah,
something.
So what was
Clean
it? Is it just
air-
like some weird preservative they put on it or something?
That, and I think you know how all the breads at Subway have flavors, like they have like the rosemary, Parmesan, you know, shit like that.
Italian herbs and spices.
Yeah, that shit I think really.
They don't say which herbs or which spices.
No.
Yeah.
No.
They just put it probably MSG or something.
Well, no, there was a news story that came out a couple of years ago where one of the preservatives in Subway's bread is a chemical that's a derivative of plastic that can be found in yoga mats.
Yeah.
Like that was a news story. We'll
surprising.
put that up on our Twitter. We're at the Good Spot. I'll retweet that.
Fast food bread in general is always the worst. It's always like, you know, when you can buy a loaf of bread at the store for $1,
The manager special.
and then it's like the kind of white bread where if you forget to throw it away because you don't actually finish it because it's gross, it just doesn't grow mold on it. They all use that kind of bread.
The crazy thing about a Subway bread is that like if you shake it violently, it doesn't break in half. It just kind of
right.
like
Yeah.
wah, 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 wah. It's like it has like a perfect sine wave that it does.
They actually shoot it full of air to advertise used car dealerships.
Yeah, I have friends of mine, like a lot of friends of mine that worked at Subway, and they talk about the smell of working at Subway is almost like working at a fish market. Like it will not get off of your body no matter what. And it's also like the worst place to work at. Like I Jesse Case worked at Subway, and he would just go on and on about how it was the worst place he ever worked at.
So why? Just like the conditions or the pay or what?
The pay, the conditions of
There's no way anybody cool or nice goes to patronize Subway.
And
either.
also it's like it's franchise and works on very thin margins.
Oh, yeah.
So
you're
the
right.
people that own the Subways, especially
Are
nowadays,
stressed the
because
fuck out.
especially nowadays because the Subway craze kind of subsided. And Subway, there was it was like the most plentiful fast food restaurant in the United States.
Yeah.
And people are under the pinch, so it's like you have these margins, so they're just like total jerks. They're just like, no,
right.
you have to put literally 4 tomatoes on this, and if you go beyond 4 tomatoes,
We're ruined.
we're ruined. We're shutting down the store.
My wife is going to divorce me.
Yeah. One of the nastiest fast food things I've ever saw is one of my best friends in the world, Chris. He went into a Subway and he didn't order this to make any sort of. This is like something he wanted to eat because he had an appetite for it. He ordered a 12-inch on the jalapeno cheese bread.
Yeah.
All right, that's a good choice.
Just capicola
Oh.
with tons of onions and caked in oregano.
Was Chris pregnant at the time? What are you talking
And he
about?
ate that thing and was like, "Oh, this is the best."
Chris wanted to accurately recreate on a sandwich a charcuterie platter from a wedding.
No, the oregano was the crazy thing because he was just like, more oregano, more oregano, more oregano. Like he's doing it to the point in which the restaurant is about to close down because he's using so much
the manager's like, we're ruined.
Yeah,
This is too much oregano."
the manager's running out, just like, no! His car's being repossessed.
I do imagine that one of the reasons people like Subway is because they have that like OCD thing where they're super picky about
Yeah.
food, and they can make their sandwich have exactly what they want on it.
Because to be fair, they are kind of responsible for that whole model of like that Chipotle uses, and like where you kind of walk up
Yeah.
and
Pick
start
your
to
own thing.
finish. Yeah.
Yeah, I think beyond the making $5 footlongs like always available, there was the kind of BCAD moment of Subway where at one point they used to cut their bread in a triangular shape, if
Right.
you remember that,
I
and then they
do.
would pull the
Sport-
top out.
Sport cut.
Yeah, sport cut. Oh, do you know?
I used to work in a sandwich shop.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
As a name.
So
Me too.
sport cut. That sounds like just like the baseball players.
Yeah,
haircut.
that is the name of a.
That's hockey hair.
Well, no. Sport Cuts is is like a chain that's kind of
Oh,
a.
yeah. The
it's
bro
like
haircut
yeah,
place,
it's
yeah.
like is
Get a beer.
is Super Cuts too girly for you?
Yeah.
Throw a couple and go to Sport Cuts.
Yeah.
We have ESPN2 on every TV.
Have hair fall into your Bud Light Lime. On tap. The sport when they went from sport cut to what is the side cut? What
Yeah,
are they?
that's just a normal
Normal cut. Yeah.
yeah.
That was when it all changed. But I was the BMT man for years, and then something happened, and then I have been grossed out by it. And maybe it's because I moved to Los Angeles and every Subway is a goddamn homeless shelter. But that might have been part of it. But yeah, I just haven't gone back.
They
So.
have gone down in quality. There's no time you go in a Subway and the lettuce isn't turning brown. Never. Absolutely never.
And I was going to ask about the interior because it seems like at first they kept it that way for like nostalgia's sake, and now it's just because, like you said, they're running out of money.
Oh yeah, with the yellow tables.
yeah,
And
and the
yellow,
brown
green,
tile
and-
floor
And that
everything.
The New York Subway wallpaper.
Yeah,
Yep.
New York Subway wallpaper. I think their jump the shark moment is when they got rid of the seafood salad because that was actually pretty decent.
Oh, that was my mom's thing.
Yeah, they had the K-Rab salad and they got rid of it, and everything fell apart after that.
Yeah, I
Quality went down.
That was
Yeah.
the linchpin to the
Yeah.
whole franchise.
So yeah. Anyway,
I will never eat at Subway unless I'm in the middle of nowhere on a highway.
Big-
I don't know if you guys agree. I will never.
Yeah. Subway is the only restaurant, magically the only like restaurant, like fast food restaurant that doesn't taste better in a foreign country.
have you had a Subway abroad?
Yeah, I had a Subway. I had Subway in Scotland,
That's
and it
amazing.
was managed to be
3 pieces of
uniformly
haggis, only
terrible.
3.
This is fucking terrible.
Yeah,
It's
so
a shite sandwich.
A
Yeah.
fucking child molester tried to feed me a shit sandwich. Fuck him.
but they did have Iron Brew on Fountain. There
you go.
Which is disgusting.
Oh my god. All right.
Before we move on, you
yeah.
were saying that there were subways in every corner in LA. I think whoever's approving these in the city thinks there's an actual subway system.
Right.
Each time they build one, it's like a station.
Yeah, it's some move that Eric Garcetti would do. Build a Subway.
Yeah.
and,
it's right here. Subway.
I'm also Batman.
So yeah, that is my top three
Okay,
for
so
worst
number
overall.
three-
Number 3, Jack in the Box.
Yeah.
Number 2, Captain D is a number 1.
Subway. Okay, cool.
Captain D's is a good choice.
Yeah. So I guess I'll go next.
God, that wheel's beautiful.
Wildest bathroom.
Ooh, wildest bathroom.
I have some opinions about this one.
Oh boy.
Number 3, I have Subway.
Okay. All right.
Subway bathrooms.
I agree. It should be on the list. I don't know about 3. It could maybe be higher.
Subway bathrooms. As we had mentioned before, Subway, not the happiest people that work there.
No.
And also they're tight on the margins.
Yep.
So one of the ways in which they
And
tend
the
to
clientele is nodding off from heroin.
well, I mean, one of the ways in which Subway tends to scrimp is they don't clean the bathrooms as often as they usually do.
Yeah.
And usually Subway, I always find that Subway just kind of like it's whenever I've got, it's not anything that it's been dangerous or anything like that. There's nothing
Yeah.
but it's always been kind of a kind of homogenous funk that's in most Subway bathrooms. Where,
Well, it's a lot of that lingering bread funk that we talked about.
I think so.
The bread funk is pervasive, by the way.
Yeah, I just find that it's one of those restaurants where at Subway they don't typically clean the bathrooms as often as, say, your McDonald's or Wendy's or
Yeah,
what
sure.
have you.
For some reason, it always makes me think of the air freshener they use because it's the same like cheapo one they use like in church annexes and stuff.
Oh yeah.
That's That's what it
dollar
always-
store shit.
Exactly. Right.
It's not even renews it. It's just like, yeah.
It's like a Polish brand or something.
Yeah.
lots
You
of
had some
umlauts.
strong opinions about Subway.
There's
bathrooms.
always a piss smell.
Yeah.
And I keep in mind, I only go into the men's one. I don't know how the
Yeah.
women's one relates to this.
Oh, well,
but I
I'm-
assume that there's always a piss smell. in
Well,
both.
most Subways I've gone to have had unisex bathrooms, and
Yeah.
I'm talking about wildest
may-
from the perspective of a man. As a woman, I think Subway bathrooms could be well up there because of the fact that people that eat at Subway don't have particularly good aim, it seems like. I don't know if it's all the
They're
preservative.
not confined by society's idea of what a toilet is, man.
Also, if you eat Subway on a regular basis, there's no way the rest of your diet's good. Like, you're eating at Subway because you think that's
Those are the
healthy.
only vegetables you're getting that week.
I'm eating
Probably.
fresh, dude, every day.
It's in the name.
And
Fresh.
they
Come
go
on.
in
fresh.
and just have diarrhea splatter all over the toilet.
Yeah, I mean,
It's just old English from the night before. That's all.
yeah, because Subway is a drunk restaurant a lot of times. Like, you get drunk and you
Yeah.
go to Subway like late.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that's when your GI starts to act up after you drink a lot, and then also, and then because it's 24-hour, people go in there and they
Come
throw
for the
up.
Sammys, stay for the whiskey shits, baby.
Yeah, people throw up a lot,
Homeless
and
guys go in to clean up.
Yep.
It's-
Take a bath. And
I think because of the 24-hour thing, it tends to create a situation that kind of ends up being a bit.
America runs on Dunkin', but they have the runs at Subway.
There we go.
Yeah. Number two, and this one actually is interesting because it's a strong. I always find it to be a very strong contrast with how clean their dining rooms are.
Yeah.
So it's kind of one of those things that, based on the frame of reference, it seems even wilder. But Steak and Shake.
Oh.
I find Steak and Shake bathrooms to be really crazy because of the fact of that 24-hour thing.
Right.
Like the 24-hour, like if growing up in Florida, Steak and Shakes are pervasive.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of Steak and Shake. I think that they are perhaps one of the worst, like at least most overrated. If not,
Definitely.
they would be on my top 3 because it's just like the food is rough.
It's fine, it's just not nothing exceptional at all about Steak and Shake.
But Steak and Shake is populated usually at like 3 in the morning by a mixture of clientele, usually high schoolers staying out super late,
Yep.
people who are drunk, and people that got nowhere else to go. And those 3 populations know how to screw up a bathroom royally.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, they will.
Well, it's a similar combo, and we're not counting this as fast food because there's waiters and stuff involved, but it's a similar combo as Waffle House.
Yeah.
yeah.
You got your all night adults, your all night kids, and your all night boozers.
Yeah, and it can be dire when you go into a Steak and Shake bathroom at like say 2 in the morning. Like going there 2 in the morning, it's just woof.
Well, when you go to places like that, you sort of accept there's going to be a certain level of dirtiness, and I think those restaurants themselves have embraced that at this point. Where
Yeah.
it's like, why would we?
But the crazy
do
thing
anything?
is that they just have. I think they devote all their attention to the dining room.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
like if you go into a Steak and Shake, a lot of times it could be just the biggest bunch of drunks and the biggest bunch of slobs you ever seen, right? But that dining room, you could still eat off the floor because they usually clean it off like really. But you go in that bathroom, it's like. Okay, they've devoted all their attention to the front stage. The backstage is real nasty. Number 1,
Oh boy. What do we got?
Checkers.
Checkers.
Checkers bathrooms are
Oh, man.
always because
Checkers
They're outdoors.
Rallies.
because it's outdoors.
Yes.
It's like a camping site bathroom.
And exactly. It's like a camp. Yeah.
I was gonna say the KOA
Or like a
campground.
little league baseball field.
Or a public park or something like that.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that it's outdoors.
It's outdoors, so it's either people shitting there,
cinder blocks
or
and
like
shit.
George Michael getting sucked off by a cop in there.
It's just
Anything goes
I
in
mean,
an
it's
outdoor
like
bathroom.
because of the fact that they're always in the back, and the way in which a Checkers or a Rallies is set up is that everybody's up front because of the drive-throughs. And then up front is also the tables where people sit down.
Yes.
The back of the Checkers is a no man's land, and that's where usually the bathroom is. And any old person can walk into that Checkers
And
bathroom.
I have many times when I was a child riding my bicycle around Auburn, Alabama, as a fat child with a bad diet, I'd be having to shit a lot. And Checkers, that restroom was always open. That was where I had the most formative dukes of my youth.
yeah.
Jam Checkers on the corner of Gay Street and Glen Avenue.
Oh, I
in
mean,
Alabama.
it's one of those ones that you got kids that are playing out in the woods and they walk out. Oh, there's a Checkers right there by the frontage road.
By the way, I'm going to make an album called Formative Dukes. I'm sorry. I'm patting myself on the back
I mean,
for
the
that
Checkers and the crux of a Checkers bathroom is if they lock it, right?
Yes.
If there's the
Yeah,
key,
it's very important.
If you get the key with the like the paddle on
Oh,
it,
I have a good.
Yeah.
the 2x4, the Hacksaw Jim Duggan's 2x4 attached.
I
to it.
have a just a brief side thing. I want to just ask everybody: what is the best thing you've ever seen a key attached to for a bathroom? Because I've got mine. I know mine.
I like they got a one that I go to this coffee shop in Hollywood, Sabori Cultura. They just attach a kitchen spoon.
Yeah.
Huge, it's like 18 inches long.
Yeah, I remember that one from Sabor. Does anybody else remember any?
A Florida Gators novelty front license plate.
Because it's always something unnaturally huge.
Yeah.
The idea being that you won't forget it and lock it in the bathroom with that.
Yeah, or steal the key or something.
Right,
like that.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the spot. I can't really think, but I think it was something like a Western themed restaurant. I remember it was like a gun or like a fake gun or something.
Yeah.
So mine, and I'll never forget this. I was driving across the country, and I was just outside of Durango, Colorado, and I had just driven through the mountains, and it was this beautiful drive, and I had to take a piss, and I stopped at this gas station, and the man handed me a fucking billy club, like a nightstick, with like the big boss man with the fucking key attached to it, and I was like, is this for my own protection on the way to this bathroom?
Nails is on the loose. Bossman! Yeah. But Checkers, like, if there's a key, that's fine. It's a little bit dicey. But if they leave that thing open,
Oh yeah.
oh my, it's like the Wild West. It's like the outhouse in the wild, just, oh my God. Like, I have gone in, and the graffiti in a Checkers bathroom. That's,
Oh, yeah.
oh my God.
Yeah.
It just seemed like an elderly church lady when you said that.
I was
And the
gonna say-
graffiti.
lots of like pieces of scripture and just random like.
Oh my,
Right.
and it's just like,
It's the kind of graffiti that's like scratched in, like.
Oh,
a
yeah.
prison
Yeah, I was going to
style.
say, the only thing more depressing than Checkers graffiti is Brooks was here, so was Red.
yeah. I mean,
Who's bringing a geometric compass into this bathroom to carve the walls with?
it's
Johnny,
yeah. There's just I loathe to repeat some of the things I've seen on the walls of a Checkers bathroom, graffiti wise, but it's as if it's Checkers bathrooms are wild.
Yeah.
I mean, in
Yeah.
the truest sense of the word.
Well, you kind of reminded me of something talking about this, and that is why did like Checkers and Sonics, especially like these places with outdoor bathrooms, they're always built into these weird like sunken in areas. So when you go back there, it is extreme, especially at night. It's terrifying.
Oh yeah, and it's over
There's
next.
no lighting or anything.
And
Like-
lest I forget that it's usually over near like the dumpster grease trap
Exactly.
area.
Yeah.
So when you
Lots
go
of places
in,
to hide
There's like
back
rats
there,
and
yeah.
raccoons
oh
and
yeah,
shit back there.
I mean, yeah, rats and raccoons probably go into those bathrooms to do their business.
That's why they give you the nightstick. With
Yeah, exactly.
raccoons. With,
Yeah, they give you a brick. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
you
it's
throw the possums back there.
yeah, but Checkers bathrooms definitely wild.
Oh man.
So yeah,
Gnarliest bathrooms.
Number 3,
Wait,
Subway.
I think we would not be living up to this full potential
Oh.
of this podcast if
Okay.
we missed out talking about the bathrooms at Del Taco and Taco Bell.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
They
those
are fucking awful.
Yeah, shout out to the taco restaurants, especially here in LA. My God.
Oh my god.
Well, yeah, Del Taco's wild because it's one of those 24-hour ones.
Yeah.
I would the times I've gone into Del Taco, I've always found Del Taco to be fine.
Yeah.
Pretty. They keep it up in there.
I've smelled and seen some things.
Well, if you end up with that, any sort of that theme on the wheel, by all means, open it up to discussion.
Yeah.
I think Taco Bell actually has the strongest toilets because they know this.
yeah.
If I'm
You
ever on
might
a
be
road,
right.
if I'm ever on a road trip or something, like I always go straight for a Taco Bell because it's like it'll always be working. You know, they're always. So I mean,
Well, a lot of
Yeah,
times
yeah.
they're locked. I was gonna say
true.
just as like a side addendum to this before we move on, like McDonald's, for all of their flaws, their bathrooms are top notch
yeah.
overall.
Although
on average,
I've been into some bad ones.
there's
the
bad
worst
ones,
one,
but they
there's
clean them. They
The
clean them
worst one
regularly.
I ever saw was the McDonald's on 14th Street and Avenue A in New York City
Okay, yeah.
on New Year's Eve.
Well, okay,
Oh
yeah.
my
okay.
God.
I think worst conditions.
There was somebody partied a little too hard and decided
No,
to throw
really?
their jacket in the toilet
Hell yeah.
and then like kind of reject everything that they had taken before, and then they just kept flushing the toilet and there was just a tsunami that came out and it was
my
This
just
was 2018, Derek. Flush.
Oh
The
man.
new me.
me and Joe Rains did a show in Nashville at the Third Coast Comedy Club, which had exquisite bathrooms, but the stall that Joe happened to pick just had 2 gloves in the toilet.
I love the move, and I've heard people do this before, just flush clothes down the toilet.
Okay.
I don't know, but anyway,
Yeah.
let's say Blake next.
Okay.
Okay, sure.
All
Yeah.
right.
Let's do it.
So
I
let's
figured that Sam would have the strongest opinions, and he would be the main event. All right.
All right.
Blowing my hair back a little.
Wowzers. Got fine construction.
Deadliest.
Oh, okay.
Deadliest.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
In terms of like illnesses afterwards.
I think probably
Okay.
illnesses afterwards or longest sort of point of consuming it. I wouldn't say the direction of like stabbiness. I think it's the destruction
like
upon your
on-
see.
Yeah. Okay.
Collateral damage.
yeah the destruction upon your body
Yeah,
by
I like
consuming it.
Yeah, I like unhealthiest, like short term and long term.
Oh yeah.
So
Now this one might be a little more.
Well, I had one on there that was worst aftermath.
Oh,
so I think
okay.
that's short term. So I think deadliest is long term effects of
okay. Yeah.
exposure to.
Oh God.
Stabbiest. Let's just give that to Subway.
Yeah.
I feel like Subway's going to pop up quite a bit on this. It already has.
I hope there's somebody listening to this that eats at Subway all the time and gets offended.
Yeah.
Fuck you. You deserve to be.
Oh, I'm hoping somebody's listening to this podcast on their way to a Subway. That would be the best. Someone's in their car and then they're like, maybe I'll go Quiznos.
Yeah, that would be good.
Which, by the way, I can't believe those still exist, but there is a goddamn Quiznos just up the street.
Yeah, they're not very good. But
No.
some people like them. There's,
Yeah.
I go to an open mic that's up the street.
Right.
There's a Quiznos nearby.
That's what I'm talking about.
Somebody told me they like to go to that open mic so they can go to that Quiznos.
That is maybe the 2 saddest things you can
Yeah.
do with your night.
Yeah.
A comedy open mic in LA followed by a
Yeah.
journey to Quiznos.
Yeah.
It's pretty fucking rough.
That's called the Ryan Talmo special.
I think Quiznos is kind of they're kind of a failure because they thought they could corner the market on heated subs.
Oh, yeah.
Which I don't know what made them think that was.
Dude,
All Subway did was start toasting their bread too, and then Quiznos was out of business.
Quiznos, to put it in a way that the kids can understand, Quiznos is basically your Snapchat. They had a good idea,
okay.
and then Subway, the Instagram, just came in and was like, "Fuck you, we're taking that."
Okay,
and so
gotcha.
now they're in the, they're kind of relegated to only the darkest corners of the strip malls of Los
Exactly.
Angeles County. And
There's a Quiznos in the mall across from the courthouse. There's an underground mall in
a lot of dads who lost their kids cried in that Quiznos.
just yeah.
Last
It's
two
weird.
nickels they have to rub together, they take to Quiznos.
It's funny because you look at the sign on the outside. It's just like a bunch of mom and pop businesses, like Shoe Shines and shit of that ilk. And then the only thing that's a recognizable chain is Quiznos.
Jesus Christ! All right,
Okay.
what do you got, Blake?
So I should qualify that all 3 of these places are places that I do enjoy.
Yeah.
But
Well, again, this is, I mean, really, what we're sort of setting up
Yeah,
with all
yeah.
of this is like why everyone in America is dying. Is because
Exactly.
we're all like, this place is terrible, but I
right.
kind of have to eat there sometimes, either financially or geographically.
Exactly.
Yeah, that
Well,
necessitates me eating there.
That's actually a good segue geographically. I live 2 blocks away in Chicago from my favorite fast food place, coming in at number 3, Popeye's chicken.
Oh boy,
yeah.
yes, yeah.
And a lot of the choices on this list are going to come down to like just individual menu items, but
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in Popeyes, I mean, we talked about Popeyes in our episode called "Fry It Up" with our good friend Tim Limbrick, and we discussed the fact that the owner of Popeyes is fucking insane. So check us out on YouTube and watch that little video. But
Yeah.
the food, I don't even think we went into the food in that as deeply as we wanted to with that. Yeah. So what do you got as far as destruction?
There's maybe one thing on the menu that could be considered healthy.
Green beans.
red beans and rice.
But even the green beans have like little
They
chunks
come
of
out
ham.
of a can.
Yeah.
Can and,
That's what I was going to say, the red beans and rice, but they make it like in ham hock or whatever.
Oh, they're so good.
Oh, they're
if you want,
amazing.
if you want a good laugh, go to or if you want to just second guess the decision you just made. And I'm saying this because I love Popeyes.
Oh, me too. They're my
I
number
went
one.
to Popeyes last week and I was in heaven. They because of law in California, they have to put how many calories are in each menu
Oh my
item.
God, yeah.
Oh,
Bad
look
for
at that! Look at
business.
that at Popeyes. My God!
like-
Like there's what was the one?
It's like, wow, this dirty rice is my entire caloric intake.
Oh yeah,
for the
there
day.
was one thing. I think it was dirty rice. A small side of it was like 890 calories. It was.
all from salt.
Yeah.
I just looked at.
Oh boy.
It.
Well, they
I'm not
just-
counting the salt because salt doesn't have calorie content.
Yeah.
I remember looking at it and I was just like, I can't win.
Yeah. No, you
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah. I've
They
just
just
jumped in
added
with
black
both
eyed
feet.
peas, which I'm not sure how they.
Wait, they have black eyed peas now?
I think it's a promotional
Oh,
thing.
No.
Yeah,
That's
so
gonna ruin me. That's my favorite vegetable.
Listen, I go there. Seriously, I mean, talking about like just not wanting to cook. Like, I regularly come back from Mike's at like 11:30, 12 at night. And that's the only thing that's open.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I eat way too. But anyway,
Yeah.
talking about the actual destruction. For me, I just tend to just lather everything with that Louisiana hot sauce. And
Yeah.
that's probably the reason.
Good.
You know,
Well, that's the lowest calorie sauce that they
Is it
have.
really?
Oh yeah, Louisiana hot sauce is just like vinegar and peppers and
Yeah.
shit. They've got like that blackened ranch.
Oh, I forgot about that.
dude.
Now I
Oh
gotta
my
get some.
God, Jesus, yeah, this is.
But yeah, no, Popeyes definitely, like you said, any combination of things is going to be incredibly fattening, and also they're not going to work well together in your stomach once they all
Yeah.
get down
Just
there.
as a
so-
grease pit at that
Well,
point.
exactly.
Oh yeah,
I remember when I was in high school, I ate a 12-piece family meal in one sitting at Popeyes, and after looking at the calorie content,
That's why your picture's on the wall.
yeah. When I looked at the calorie content, like just thinking of it in retrospect,
It's so
I
weak.
was just like, "What? Why am I here? What?"
That was your rock bottom. Was
Yeah.
12-piece.
That's and that's a testament to a teenager's metabolism. because-
Exactly.
Oh well, that's a teenage metabolism. As long as we're telling truths here, here's something that happened about in December. I went to a
Just
Popeyes.
turned into an AA.
Oh, God.
yeah.
Popeyes is emotional, man. It brings
FFA.
up a lot of
It's not
things.
Futures Farmers of America. It's Fast Food Anonymous. No, I went to the Popeyes and I was like, it was I've been sort of somewhat trying to eat a little better. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go to this Popeyes, but I'm gonna get a biscuit and I'm gonna get like a red beans and rice because the
Yep.
biscuits are really good and they're
yeah.
kind of like
That's
salty
so
enough to
fucking
kind of
good.
Yeah, yeah.
to kind of satiate whatever
Yeah.
cravings you might be having. It was actually after we recorded the fucking Popeyes episode with Tim Limbrick. Actually, that's what it was. Is because we got to talking about fucking Popeyes and I went and I didn't want to totally dive into the chicken because I was like, well, I'm about to go back to Alabama for Christmas. I'm going to eat like a fucking monster,
Oh.
but I want to get something to approximate what I like about Popeyes.
That's a whole
so-
separate conversation. Is going back for the
Oh
holidays.
yeah.
To,
Oh my god. But yeah, so I got a biscuit and I got the red beans and rice and I got the car and because this is what you do here in LA. I was on the way to a comedy show and I was like, I'll just park on a dark suburban street and eat this in my car and then throw it away at a gas station parking lot. And I got to the little side street there in Burbank. And realized that I didn't have a fork for the red beans and rice.
Walk
and
of shame back to the.
no. This is
Did you Clo-Booker it?
Alabama chug.
Yeah.
we're all about truth here.
Yeah, it's a safe place.
because with the red beans and rice, they don't stir that shit for you. They put rice on the bottom and
Right.
the beans on
Yeah.
top, and you're
Right.
supposed to take a fork
So you
and stir it
can't
up.
drink it.
Well, life
Well, you can
life
try.
finds a way, as
Okay.
they say in Jurassic Park. I took a finger, I stirred it up, and then I started slowly consuming it like it was
Yeah.
a thermos full of soup.
Yeah.
like a baby bird, just like
Just taking little sip skis. I had and then Oh, and I also took First, I took the biscuit and broke it in half
Yeah.
and started using the biscuit as an impromptu utensil. And then after the biscuit was done, there was still half a thing of a small order
Yeah.
of red beans. So I sipped the rest
Well-
like a fucking animal.
now that you mention it, there is a degree of shame like to any Popeyes meal because once you finish it,
yeah, more than a degree.
you look down at like the thing and it's full of bones and just like discarded. You're like, there's no order to it at all. It's just
yeah. But yeah, long term, boy, yeah, that calorie count catches up with you quick, man. What do you got next?
Okay, number 2, classic, sort of on the same vein as McDonald's, is Burger King. Because
Sure.
if we're talking about like promo items, Burger
Oh,
King
yeah.
Oh God, they
is
are
the king of promos.
Oh yeah.
They're taking a surrealistic
I call them
approach.
bromos because they go like heavy in the bro direction. It's
Like
just
the
like
Cheetos, like poppers or whatever.
How are we gonna make this more extreme?
yeah.
Chicken fries.
Yeah.
yeah.
Chicken fries. They got the black burger.
Yeah. The angry
Oh
Whopper.
yeah, the angry Whopper, but then the black, the Halloween black burger or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, I
Oh
remember
yeah, I forgot about that.
the black bun.
Yeah. That makes your
It's weird.
dookies green.
Yeah.
Because
Oh
of
yeah,
the-
for sure.
Yeah.
Just what you want.
Yeah.
Well,
For Halloween.
Planning on throwing your feces across the neighborhood? I want it to just be brown.
festive feces.
It's green like a spooky witch. Yeah.
No, but it does seem like they don't really know how to brand themselves because like Taco Bell sort of cornered the market on like the gamer sort of thing. So
Yeah.
BK's kind of trying to like muscle in on that, but they're failing.
Well, they're trying to muscle in on like
spectacularly.
the like ironic like
Right.
yeah, like can you believe we made this kind of
Right.
thing,
Yeah,
which
you're right.
which
Yeah.
was for a while there the precedent for that of course was set by KFC
Exactly.
with the double
The
down,
double down,
the double
yeah.
down, which was basically like can you believe this is a
Yeah.
thing?
Yeah.
And Burger King took that idea and just ran with it to mediocre results.
Exactly.
frankly.
No,
Yeah.
I feel like I actually should have used KFC now instead
Oh,
of
no,
Burger
no.
King.
They're
But-
just sustaining.
Yeah.
But no, like it's one of those places where like I'll just get a random craving every now and then again and go to Burger King, and the burgers are actually it's probably just nostalgia, but like
It's very location based.
Exactly.
I
You're
wanna
right.
say
You're right.
Burger King, you can go to one it's always bad.
Yeah.
Like
Although
the one up the street here.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Although I will say, I go to Burger King occasionally if the line at McDonald's breakfast is fucked. Then if I just need a perfunctory fast food breakfast like a coffee and like a biscuit and a hash brown kind of a situation,
Yeah.
it's like. It's
Their
not great,
breakfast-
but
yeah.
there is nobody in that fucking line. McDonald's, they'll have a
Speaking of-
goddamn line out to the street and back down. The Burger King, fucking, you get your shit in 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Speaking
So-
of sweaty wrappers, a croissant witch, man. Ooh, my
Oh,
gosh,
boy.
that is
Yeah.
it's translucent.
Yeah, I guess the croissant witch is an early dabble in like surreal food because
Oh,
it doesn't make any goddamn sense.
But
Yeah.
the
speaking of
that-
sweaty wrappers, Lil Xan.
Yeah, there we go.
The eggs they use in their breakfast are disgusting.
Oh, yeah.
They're not like McDonald's actually cracks a real egg at
Do
their.
they, though?
Yeah, they do.
Are you
Yeah.
sure?
Yeah,
it's
that's
not
okay.
powdered eggs.
yeah.
I thought they
Bur-
came in like the round patty form.
I don't.
Nah.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think they crack it into
Okay,
a
fair
thing.
enough.
that
Into a
just-
form.
It just
Got it.
Yeah, like
steams
cookie
it.
cutter thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
The,
apologies to McDonald's.
my favorite Burger King menu item of that sort was the meat enormous breakfast sandwich, where they had the commercial where it was like meat.
We got pigs. We got cows.
No. The
Chickens.
commercial was literally meat on top of meat on top of meat.
Meat on top of meat on top of meat. Wake up with the king.
I
On
remember
top
this.
of cheese. And my friends they went out, and I was really mad at them because they didn't bring me along to this because we were going to go get meat enormous sandwiches.
Meat enormous sounds like a late Roman emperor.
They pulled into the drive-through at Burger King, and the guy who's ordering is a rather preeminent social psychologist nowadays. So this is he pulls in and he's just like, it's like, welcome to Burger King. Can I take your order? And he's like, yes, I would like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 meat on top of meat on top of meat sandwiches.
For short, meat
And
enormous.
there's just a pause, and it was just like the person cracked. They're like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" It's just like from the commercial, and it's just like, "Oh, the meat enormous sandwich, yeah."
There was one item that they had for a long time, and I think they still have this, but they've toned it all the way the fuck down to like a normal food item, which was around. I would say this is probably my freshman, sophomore year of college. They came out with this thing called the BK Stacker.
Oh yeah.
And the Stacker,
it
was extremely cheap. So I ate a lot of them because I was in college. Like, it was cheaper than anything else on the menu. It was the most food you could get for your buck, but it was literally just a patty, cheese, and then this like special sauce that was sort of like basically Thousand Island.
Yeah.
But the commercial was like you could get a single stacker, a double stacker, and it went up to 5 patties.
It's like it's one of those.
You get a 5 stacker. I was like, you deserve to die.
It's one of those
Give me the
menu.
sausage roll, and I'll just bite the whole thing.
Right,
Off
yeah.
myself.
Yeah, it's one of those menu items that like Newt Gingrich brings up to describe how great America is. It's like you can get 5 patties for $2. Where else in the free world is that's progress?
The Ayatollah doesn't want you to have this
Yeah,
stacker.
that's progress. That you can get food that has so many calories for so cheap.
Oh, Christ. No, Burger King has a special place. But coming in at number 1, and again, this may be besides Popeyes, my favorite fast food place is Sonic, because even though it's fantastic,
legendary in Southern California because
Yes.
they run commercials for Sonic on TV here constantly, and the nearest one is in like Riverside.
No, there's one in Orange County.
This is
or Anaheim.
Also, apparently, that is a national phenomenon. They just advertise everywhere, even
if they don't have a location, which
Yeah.
is so crazy.
yeah, now that you mention it, you do see them on like broadcast networks. But anyway, I think again, just because of the variety on the menu, and probably just because I get jalapeno poppers every time I go, that's probably the reason.
Okay.
But again, just, you get like a limeade or some like weird ice cream thing with a million different, and it's just a recipe for disaster.
They'll kill you
so.
with the sugar and the grease.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Well, they have
That's
a fucking drink that's called the Route 44 because it is 44 ounces of corn syrup.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
It's like, oh man, I would get a Route 44.
Is that really why they call it that?
Yeah, it's a 44 ounce cup.
Yeah.
It's because I think if they actually called it a Route 66, that is technically illegal.
You're
That is,
right.
you can't. I don't think you can serve 66 ounces of soda.
Well, you can't. Bloomberg's American. No.
Fucking Mike Bloomberg.
No, the jalapeno poppers are key because for the longest time the only place you could get jalapeno poppers at a fast food restaurant is Arby's.
Right.
And then they like kind of opened up the possibilities that you don't have to go to Arby's. You can go
Exactly.
to somewhere else that can also kill you with sugar.
Well, and that brings something else up I was going to ask. So does anybody else participate in the phenomenon of, like, one place will have something you want, but they don't have the side items, so you'll go to a different place?
Oh boy, mix and match.
I do that all the time. Because
Wow.
like if there's a BK like a block away from like a Wendy's, I'll get my burger at the Wendy's, but then go to Burger King and get onion rings.
You know, I was embarrassed about my Popeye story, but now I feel better.
You know what? I'm just I like what I like, and I'm
No,
gonna
this
go
is
buy
about-
it.
Oh, I've
Yeah.
done that. Oh, in a mall food court.
Oh, yeah.
I've done that. I've done the
a food court.
Yeah, but I've done the thing even by like in commercial areas that will have situations where it's like within a 1 block area you could get multiple things. And I remember getting a couple of side items at other restaurants to go with my Arby's Big Montana.
Oh man.
Oh boy.
How has Arby's not made a list so far?
Good, yo. Well, you still.
I was gonna say we still got.
true.
But yeah, Sonic is.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Arby's, like Arby's is one that I've actually come back around on recently because for years
They've got the meat.
they do have the meats. For years, for years, I heard the rumor that you guys have probably heard that when they make their meat, it's like a gel or something.
It's grown in a bucket.
Right.
Yeah.
I went on Snopes or something and saw that is not the case, or at least it's not for everything. Do you guys do you know if that's true or not?
I wish it was true so I could drink Arby's sandwiches, have it like a drink.
Can you add it to the milkshake, please?
Yeah,
Just, like,
exactly.
little meat
Can I have
sauce
a Jamocha shake with meat?
with roast beef? But apparently, like it's like you
Jamocha
described with. And I used to work at a firehouse, so it's the same thing Firehouse Subs does, which is it's sort of true because the meat they ship has like shit on it, like preservatives, but they actually do slice it. And it is so it's full of chemicals, but it's not like as gross as that. So,
But yeah,
What about the cheese sauce?
that's
that's
probably-
great.
Yeah.
I love that.
The beef and cheddar
But
cheese
the,
sauce.
the cheese sauce at Sonic, to go back to Sonic,
Yeah.
I mean, they will like, if you order like the tots or like a Coney there, where they have like the 18-inch Coney hot
yeah.
dog.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like their Coney dog is like chili, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah.
Of
like,
course.
Like you'd get in Coney Island and covered in that, Velveeta. That'll kill you.
I'm driving to
That'll
Riverside
kill
after
you.
this.
Yeah. Along with like, if you get like a lime Sprite, a double lime Sprite. Oh,
Oh, the ocean water all day, man.
Yeah.
That was my go-to, which is just Sprite with like blue coconut syrup in it. So it's just
Tropical, yeah.
double sugar
Yeah.
Sprite.
Yeah,
That's
brief
called
brief anecdote if we're talking about
Tropical Sprite
embarrassing
remix.
exactly embarrassing fast food stories. God, now my girlfriend's gonna hear this. I wasn't gonna tell her this, but I missed my flight from Atlanta back to Chicago like a month ago, and I didn't have the money to like get another flight, so I had to rent a minivan at the Atlanta airport and drive it through the night back to Chicago because I had to work the next day.
Yeah.
Whoa, okay.
And literally the only thing that got me through that
Wait,
was
why did you rent a minivan?
because it was the cheapest thing.
Oh, okay.
It was like
okay. I was
yeah.
just thinking you were like, baby, I got to drive to Chicago.
The whole thing cost me like $70 to
Yeah.
drive back.
Oh, I did a similar.
How long does that take?
Oh, it was brutal, dude. It was like
10
11
hours?
hours or something.
Yeah, it's 11 hours from Auburn, Alabama, so no
Christ.
telling from Atlanta.
No, I got back at like 7 in the morning, and then had to make up. I said like I had a dentist appointment or something, and then went in like at noon.
Jesus.
Yeah, this is my life. You're hearing, but no, that's all that got me through that without like running myself off the road on purpose. Was the cherry limeade from? I just kept getting more of them. I just went to
Yeah.
Sonic, and I was like another one. So I had a just IV
Hit
drip
me again.
Of
I'll
limeade.
tell you when I'm
Cut me! Cut me, damn it!
I was missing a foot by the time I got there, but it was worth it.
All right, so your top three one more time. So.
Yeah, so just to repeat, number 3, Popeyes, hot sauce. Number 2, Burger King, just weird combinations. And then number 1, Sonic, because of mainly jalapeno poppers and
sugar.
40 kilograms of sugar.
Sugar,
beverage.
fats, and dairy fats.
Oh man,
The whole
Delicious.
thing. the whole sheboygan.
I am upset there's not more Sonics here in LA.
All right.
Let's raise awareness, from this conversation.
All right, Sam.
I'm
Here we
ready.
go.
Oh,
We got worst chicken.
oh man.
Okay.
Yeah. So it could either be fried chicken or chicken sandwiches.
Yeah. Okay.
So it could be chicken of any types.
Oh boy. Well then.
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
Oh man. We're
That's a
I think
toss-up.
I was gonna
yeah.
say.
So it's you can do chicken on a bone or chicken tenders or
Yeah.
McNugget type things or even chicken sandwiches. Any sort of chicken things.
Okay, let me make a list.
Oh man. Well, by the way, while we're doing this, I just wanted to since the subject of Burger King came up a second ago, has anyone seen Joey's World Tour, the Burger King reviews?
I fucking love this guy. He's a morbidly obese man.
This is one of the best things I've ever seen.
Oh, is this for the Big King?
Yeah, it's for it's a review of the XL Big King, and we're gonna put this on our Twitter. We're at the Goods Pod, and just so you can see this, but we're gonna watch it here and do a live reaction.
Hey everyone, this is Joe for Joey's Epic Phone Reviews. I'm back.
He starts every review that way. Just want to point that
Is that like
out.
an Anthony Kiedis thing or something?
How are you today? I'm doing marvelous. Anyways, I'm at Burger King, and they came out with their new Burger King, Big King XL for extra large. It's their version of the Biggie Mackie. So let's see what she looks like. Okay, muchachos, this is the Big King XL for extra large. Features a pair of quarter-pound flame grilled beef patties, American cheese, some onion, some lettuce and
Some
pickles, and
onion.
special stacker sauce on a flaky toasted sesame seed bun.
Oh, they got the stacker sauce on
It's
there.
basically their version of the Biggie Mackey.
He said it twice.
There goes
my hero. Watch him as he goes.
Well, would you think
Is he
about
fucking this
that?
burger? That's what it sounds like.
He's getting ready.
Sometimes he basically does.
We're gonna give this a shot today. 6 buckaroos. You can't go wrong with
Six
that.
buckaroos.
He insists on
Yeah,
mispronouncing.
it's got a lot of. It's basically the stacker
everything.
sauce is like Thousand Island.
That is the gnarliest lettuce I've ever seen.
Yeah, this is.
Mother.
Oh, that is.
It looks like documents that have gone through a shredder.
What do you mean, huh? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Anyway, that is.
I should have got ketchup. I like ketchup.
Check out Joey's World.
Of course, he loves ketchup.
Joey's World Tour on YouTube. We'll retweet that. Oh my God. All right.
Okay, I got
Sam.
a list. I did 4 of them.
Okay.
Because I wanted to throw this in, because this is worst chicken, and this is going to be controversial. This place, mostly known for its chicken.
Sure.
KFC.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I don't know.
Awful.
Here, yeah.
Fucking sucks.
Yeah.
So bad.
You know what? You think regular KFC chicken is bad? Have you ever gone to a KFC buffet?
I've heard of their existence.
Oh,
I've
my
never
God.
been
I've heard
one.
tale about the land of KFC in Valdosta, Georgia.
Yeah, no, I have eaten at the KFC buffet in
I know,
Valdosta,
because
Georgia.
I have relatives that lived in Gainesville, and we had to drive through Valdosta, and guess what my dad wanted to eat?
Oh yeah,
That buffet.
The thing about the chicken there is that they reheat it,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it gets rock hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it is like eating fragments of concrete. It is
It's
disgusting.
like eating a pool noodle or something, right?
Oh man, no! I mean, it's like hard.
No, it's
like
Oh, really?
It's like
Wow.
eating rocks.
It's like
Yeah.
it's like eating it's like eating a chunk. It looks like eating a chunk of concrete with like popcorn ceiling effect on the outside. Like it is brutal.
Yeah. Well, and the thing about KFC that a lot of Americans forget is that KFC is second only to McDonald's
Right.
worldwide.
Super popular
And a lot of that
everywhere
has to do
Yeah.
with like dietary restrictions in certain cultures.
Yeah, in the Middle
like,
East
in
and
Middle
in
East
the,
and
Muslim world. Yeah.
Yeah, and in East Asia as well. Like there's a bunch of KFCs because that chicken is
yeah.
universal.
Like
as
in
far as
India
diet
too,
goes.
yeah. It's like
Yeah.
that. And for a while, Hardee's was also like that. And to a degree, Hardee's is like that as well because they still have the fried chicken.
Right.
At, like if you go to a Hardee's in Egypt or something like that, they have the fried chicken.
Carl's Jr.
still there.
didn't fucking take it away like they did here. Goddamn you,
Yeah.
Carl's Jr. when they merged.
Yeah.
But yeah, like a lot of people's perception of American food, not even to mention the because we're all men of America, men of the South specifically, and we can all say that fried chicken, if done correctly, is God's gift to man.
Yeah, of course.
But
Yeah.
KFC fucks it up, and they're embarrassing the name
Yeah.
of fried chicken worldwide.
Yeah.
So when people come from other countries to America and they experience the real fried chicken, they're always like,
They were
oh,
like
well,
living a lie.
I've been lied to this whole time.
Well, Colonel Sanders he definitely misrepresented himself in a lot of ways. One way, the main way he did was there was nothing about the recipe that made KFC successful. It was the fact that he invented the pressure cooker, the pressure
Right.
fryer.
Yeah.
And so that was the only reason why it became as popular as it did was because they were everywhere and it was easy to open one up and run one.
Yeah.
But talking about iconography, actually in China, they're crazy popular, and the Colonel, like the picture of the Colonel, has kind of become a thing unto itself over there because
Yeah.
clearly they have no association with the Southeast or anything. So
Sure.
like it's just this weird like, oh, he's like our Ronald McDonald or whatever. Like
Yeah.
it's just kind of a random.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah,
But-
and Colonel Sanders also he sold the restaurant,
Yeah.
and then proceeded to just bitch about it the rest of his life.
Yeah.
And so he would like walk into random KFCs and just start screaming at
That's-
people that they were doing things
That's
wrong.
my dad's Bigfoot story. He claims that they used to drive from Florence, Alabama to Indiana to visit his grandpa, and he claims that going through Kentucky, like in the early 70s or whatever, he like turned around at a stoplight and Colonel Sanders was like in the passenger seat behind him and like waved at him.
Presumably driving like a Dusseldorf or something
yeah.
something whimsical, right?
Dusseldorf.
Like a goofy car or something.
Yeah.
A Duesenberg, you mean?
Whatever.
Yeah,
a Delahigh 135.
Yeah, a Duesenberg is like, the basis of one of the deuce and a quarter. That's the basis of one of the greatest Sinbad riffs ever. Grandma and the dog with the big head. Yeah. One of my favorites of all time.
Go to KFC if you want like soggy breading and the breading also doesn't even taste good.
Yeah.
They always brag about their herbs and spices. They taste like fucking shit.
Right. And we also talk about the location-based thing. Like Popeyes, like even if you get a shitty Popeyes and the chicken's like kind of too
the spices
too
will still-
dry,
yeah.
the side items kick ass.
Of course,
always, because they're filled with ham hocks.
Oh, I have literally drowned my Popeyes meal in mashed potatoes because it was so dry and terrible.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, it's better this way. I'll just eat
but
it
the
like
side
that.
items at KFC are dog shit too.
Oh, yeah.
So they can't even make it up with that.
I have nothing
So,
good there.
Anyway.
Nothing good.
Go to hell, KFC.
And you mentioned Carl's Jr. there. Let's just throw in an honorable mention for them. Their chicken sandwich, not that great. But number 3, Long John Silver.
Oh, yeah, okay.
They have chicken?
Exactly.
Oh, I forgot what we were talking about. Wait, what?
Worst chicken item, the chicken planks.
They call them the chicken planks?
The most aptly named menu item.
That sounds like sounds like an old time disease.
I saw them before at a combination A&W Long John Silver's in Orlando, Florida.
The rarest combination restaurant.
The chicken plank took daddy in 1928.
That's what I'm saying. It sounds like an old disease.
I believe that there was also a Togo's in it, if I was not mistaken, for a short time.
Well, it was right around after the Great War. Granny got the chicken planks in her mind. It's just never the same.
They're so bad, man.
Yeah, they're so fucking bad. And just imagine the same sort of shape as their fish there. You know, their giant fish stick thing. It's just a chicken in that same shape.
It's shaped like a chicken.
I get the nautical reference, why it's called the planks, but you don't eat any. There's no food called the planks. It doesn't. That doesn't sound good. It just invokes wood.
It works on multiple levels because it's a plank-like piece of chicken, but eating it is like walking the plank.
Right.
It works on two
And then
levels.
after you eat too many of it, you're planking on the ground.
Right. Yeah, it's got like
seizures make you.
Yeah, because your stomach rejected everything.
It sounds both disgusting and fatalistic.
Yeah. The chicken plank. And Long John Silver's is typically just the baseline of it is really kind of bad.
They don't have anything good there. It's like Captain D's, I think you were saying earlier.
Yeah.
They have the best thing there is their fries.
Yeah.
Fries pretty decent.
Yeah.
Other than that, you're just hoping they have an A&W attached.
I mean, really, the thing if you have to go into the fish direction of fast foods, if you have a dietary restriction, if you're pescatarian or something like that, it's always Arthur Treacher's first, big drop, Long John Silver's, huge drop,
Captain D's.
Captain D's.
I don't even know what that first one is.
Arthur Treacher's. You can find him in
How do you spell that? That sounds like there's no vowels.
TRETCHER apostrophe S. Arthur Treacher's.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
They're usually connected to Kenny Rogers Roasters
Well, no, all I got to say about
and Nathan's Hot Dogs.
all I got to say about that is that the last time I had Long John Silver's, I've been known to shake hands with danger. I've been known to flirt with disaster. It was somewhere in the middle of New Mexico, which is pretty fucking far from the ocean, but there was nothing else. For some reason, it was a weird town where there was just a gas station and a Long John Silver's, and I was hungry. I was like, well, it's either this or Kit Kats. All right. And I went, and it was...
it's like they serve prehistoric fish at the New Mexico
I
Long John
forgot
Silver's.
completely about the chicken planks, man. Those are like...
I'm hung up on that too.
I'll never make that mistake again.
And as a kid, I loved them. I just want to also say that. Because the batter at Long John Silver's is actually good.
Okay.
It's not bad,
It's the what's inside of them is the problem.
I loved biting my toenails when I was a kid. That doesn't mean that I like it still.
If you can drown these in ketchup or some kind of sauce. I know out of everything on this list, I probably know people who actually enjoy the chicken planks more than a lot of the other items that'll come up. Just because I don't know, there's something about them.
It's a pretty low bar.
Yeah,
I mean, it's,
it is exactly. That's the issue with this category.
It's like this is a Florida reference, but Fazoli's breadsticks. It's like one of those sort of things where people get very fond of
right.
those, even though they're kind of objectively pretty rough.
Yeah. Well, when you first raised the specter of the chicken planks, it occurred to me that it sounded like a disease. But the more we say it, it sounds like a dance craze.
Yeah. Or just it just sounds like you're eating wood.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of chicken, like being up in Chicago, it's been weird being around like Boston Market again because you're just who is this place for? Like who is craving Boston Market when you could just go pick up a rotisserie chicken at Kroger or whatever?
Yeah,
like,
sure.
Whenever I think of Boston Market, I always hear the song Ants Marching by Dave Matthews Band, and I don't know why. I don't know if they use that song in a Boston Market ad. I don't know why. Just,
dinner rolls.
yeah, and their one moment of glory.
Boston Market is just one of those restaurants that exists for people who are too afraid to go to like
To Popeyes?
Yeah, to just like a regular restaurant with its like I don't know. Boston Market's just one of those restaurants for idiots, you know?
Yeah, well, it has all the markings of like, a dad on vacation with his kids, and they're like, well, we could go to this restaurant we never heard of. It's like, but we do love Boston Market.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah,
a lot of people are just scared to try something they haven't heard the name of before.
Right, right.
Marie Callender's exist.
Yeah.
There was a Boston Market in Atlanta across from their equivalent of Soup Plantation that they had for a while called Lettuce Surprise You.
Oh God! What?
And we would tend to go Boston Market.
Let us surprise you.
But anyway,
okay.
So that's chicken planks.
Okay, I'm gonna
disgusting.
I'm gonna unveil my top 1 and 2 at the same time because I don't know if I put them in the right order, and maybe we can compare. And contrast.
All right.
But I have number 2, McDonald's.
Okay.
Their chicken products very bad, specifically the McNugget. Terrible.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people like them.
I'll roll with them. Their chicken selects, like the chicken tender ones, not too shabby.
See,
really?
They're pretty good. They're not too bad.
My thing with the McNuggets, and it's this way with a lot of these like kind of fast food items, is that I like the taste of them, but not because it's chicken. Like you eat it and you're like, well, this doesn't taste like
it's like with
any chicken I've ever fucking had.
It's a sauce receptacle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
but it's a good way to get
dipping
the hot mustard into.
Yeah,
it's like I was saying
that's my wife's Jim.
Yeah, hot mustard.
Jen loves hot mustard.
Yeah,
it's like I was saying with the chicken plank. If you can just get enough of like the batter right and the sauce right, it's fine.
Well, something interesting I found out about the nuggets is that when they first rolled out with them, there's the two shapes. There's like the circle, like the oval, and the boot. And supposedly the circle is supposed to be breast meat. It's supposed to be white meat, and then the boot is supposed to be the dark meat.
I've heard this rumor.
But apparently what it was they just like differently flavored the boot shapes. Like it wasn't actually a difference. I swear to God, it wasn't a difference of anything. It was just like they would just put a weird, slightly strange flavor. And so when I was a child, I remember eating them and being like, I don't like the boots.
Delightful.
I don't like the boots as much as I like the rounds. And then it come to find out that was an attempt at differentiating the flavor.
The thing about McDonald's chicken is, again, the chicken tenders, like the premium chicken tenders that they have,
which is a new thing.
And they had chicken selects for a short time, which was like they always bring those sort of things back. Not too bad, pretty good. Their knockoff version of the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich, I would put that above Chick-fil-A's.
Really?
What?
Yeah, because it would be consistent.
Shots fired.
It would be consistent because the thing with the Chick-fil-A one,
Chick-fil-A.
the thing with the Chick-fil-A one is that Chick-fil-A has the Krispy Kreme dynamic that once you get, there's a short half-life, right?
Okay.
If you get beyond a certain 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and it's not consumed yet, it might as well be, because it gets soggy. The McDonald's one stays, and it's not, and it's
because of science, in defiance of the will of God.
Just irrespective of the bag, irrespective of the bag that they put the chicken fillet in, it stays crispy longer, and it just tastes better.
Someone in a laboratory saw to it.
I better living through chemistry, dude.
DuPont.
I don't care if it's yoga mats. It's better than Chick-fil-A.
Well, that's the thing. Chick-fil-A. All right, look, I worked at a Chick-fil-A, and Chick-fil-A.
We know you mention it every episode.
Yeah, I know. It defined my life in so many ways.
Nice, Sam.
Well, no, it's a defining thing about me is that I worked at the damn Chick-fil-A. As far as the company, they're just disgusting. But then as far as the food goes, and this extends out to In-N-Out Burger as well, food-wise, the most hateful companies are the best quality.
You're right.
But then they're just like public relations nightmares anytime the owner decides to speak.
Yeah. Chick-fil-A, they have grilled strips.
Yeah, grilled nuggets, grilled strips.
Why would anybody want that?
If you're like on a diet or something like that. When I was trying to,
then you just don't eat fast food.
when I was trying to do some lean gains, I was dabbling into that sort of environment.
Yeah.
No, I literally
mistake.
I literally only go to Chick-fil-A for the milkshakes. I think.
yeah.
I think everything else on the
Great
menu
shakes.
you can find a better version of somewhere else, and there's not all the. See, I find the enthusiasm off-putting personally.
Yeah.
Like I just want to go get my food and leave.
Oh well, I can.
Okay.
This is only for me and you, Blake. But Bridget at the damn Chick-fil-A in Auburn.
Yeah.
Like you'd go through this, and then this lady was the loudest person of all time. She'd go like, it's a pleasure to serve you at Chick-fil-A. My name is Bridget. How can I help you? And like it was so goddamn loud.
Yeah.
And I moved to Los Angeles, and the first time I went to the Chick-fil-A in Los Angeles, the lady's name was Bridget.
Oh my god, they hire people at like
rigid standards at Chick-fil-A.
Got to have at least one Bridget at every
Bridget.
Chick-fil-A.
Well, they do the same thing at In-N-Out where they just want the employees to seem so fucking not happy to see you.
Yeah.
It's off-putting.
I thought you were about
Yeah.
to say that they always have a guy named Connor working there. But
That's probably true. As
yeah,
well.
so
Yeah.
Mickey D's, and then we're
And
fighting between.
And I said I was going to unveil them at the same time. Didn't do it. Number one, a Burger King.
Burger King.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every sort of chicken item they have is fucking awful.
Yeah, although I almost will say the same thing I said about the McDonald's McNuggets that I'll say about the chicken fries. Like as chicken, not great, but as a chicken adjacent item, it's pretty tasty. Pretty good sauce delivery system.
All right.
If they get cold, if they get even slightly cold, they are terrible.
Yeah, great point.
So I would agree with you, especially nowadays, right? Back in the day, the chicken tenders that you would get at Burger King.
Back when Kidvid was
those
running
were
the
those were
Kids Club.
Kidvid and Jaws, and whatever the
Jaws.
dog's name was.
Was it Jaws from James Bond? That would be great. It's just Kidvid. And
Yeah,
like
it was
this
Richard Keel just hanging
7 foot tall man.
Yeah, the boss from Happy Gilmore just hanging around with a nail in his head.
Well, he
just
was a Subway spokesman. Actually.
yeah. But anyway, their chicken tenders were pretty good.
Yeah.
And they also had their chicken sandwich wasn't bad. My grandma loved them. My mom loved them. And they used to have the international ones where it was like they had a chicken cordon bleu one where it was Swiss cheese, some ham, the chicken, and then they had a chicken parmesan.
Yeah,
one.
the chicken parm is like they bring
Yeah,
or
yeah.
chicken Italian.
Yeah, chicken Italian.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
those were, but I think it was that moment where they're like, we're losing, because there was that time where they didn't have necessarily have parity with McDonald's, but they were closer to McDonald's than they are now. And then they was starting to drop, and they're like, damn the torpedoes, we're going all in. We're trying to reformulate everything, their fries, everything. And the chicken took a just nosedive after that
Well, that's
point.
what I was going to say. Like, I
Yeah.
remember being a kid and really liking their chicken nuggets, but I think that might have been because I just hadn't had that much chicken up to that point in my life.
And their sweet and sour sauce was solid.
Oh,
I don't
they
know.
still have my favorite fast food sauce, period, which is the zesty sauce, which is basically just the bloomin' onion sauce from
Yeah,
Outback.
yeah. Oh,
but
yeah.
that
But
shit,
that stuff's good.
it's horseradish
I would-
and ketchup, that shit rules.
I would say, yeah, I think that Burger King definitely, their chicken nowadays.
You can get
Get outta here.
10 nuggets for $1.
You know what's fucking crazy about that is that I swear to God, because McDonald's like kind of like upped their chicken nugget game, and it doesn't taste the same as it used to taste as a kid. And when I first moved to LA, I didn't have very much cash, and I got those 10 nuggets for $1 or whatever the fuck it was. It's the old McDonald's recipe. I swear to God, it tastes exactly like the recipe of the McDonald's one from my childhood because I was eating them, the boots, and I was like,
Yeah.
the boots suck. The rounds are good.
I respect your decisions, Sam. Let me throw a couple in there.
Oh, yeah.
personally,
I know I didn't do this right. I was just making this list on a whim.
the Domino's pizza chicken.
My God, I forgot that existed, dude. I accidentally ordered that one time and it ruined my fucking night.
What is it?
Can they call it? Can they technically call it wings, or do they have to call it WYNGZ?
Yeah.
Because that is
it's-
an actual thing that the USDA has actually created a classification of wings.
Yeah, you have to replace all the vowels with Y's like Leonard Skinner.
You have to make it extreme.
Chicken wings.
The
Yeah.
government says you need to make these wings extreme because they're not qualifying as wings.
That's not wing meat.
Yeah,
It's like every time they get sued, they just add another Z to the end.
yeah, those are disgusting.
Disgusting. Basically, what happens
remember this.
is that you can know how
you can still get 'em.
You know how you can get wings at a lot of pizza places.
Yeah, sure.
Or you can get boneless ones.
Yeah,
these
yeah.
are their boneless wings. They bake them in the oven.
Yep.
But instead of just baking them like you would chicken nuggets, they pour either white sauce or red sauce on top of them and cover them in cheese and other pizza toppings. So then they come out.
what?
When they come out, the chicken is just soggy. It's just soggy as fuck and covered in nasty Domino's
So wait.
bullshit.
Wait, it's supposed to be like a chicken parmesan type of thing?
That's one of the flavors.
Oh my god.
They also have like a white
Chicken
sauce.
Alfredo?
Yeah.
One possibility. Of what
So those are bad.
Holy shit.
But I think personally, the worst fast food chicken is far and away 7-Eleven wings.
I've never even had.
Oh
that.
my
I didn't even
god!
know we could delve into it.
7-Eleven wings. For some reason, you get them. You leave the store. They smell like hot dogs. It doesn't matter what sauce is on
Well,
it.
it's 'cause
If it's
they've been
wing
cooking-
sauce.
Yeah.
They've been in a heat lamp in close proximity to hot dog
They
gases.
smell like,
Yeah.
but for some reason they smell like hot dogs, and you eat them, and they have a texture that's just weird.
Yeah.
It's like you can't even.
But it's weird spelled with a Y.
Yeah, it's like almost like a sort of texture that you would associate with like lab grown meat, like they would have, and then it's just tastes like hot dogs.
Yeah.
Buffalo hot dog. And just bad because it's not a hot dog, it's half a hot dog.
You can also buy Buffalo hot dogs there. I
Yeah,
think.
but it's just like, those are just. I remember eating a dozen of those one time.
And you didn't stop that for one.
Just to be sure.
No, because it was a thing where I'm just one of those people that's just like, I have a real issue with throwing away meat, like
Me
because
too.
it's just
Me
like
too.
a thing. I feel guilty about it.
Okay.
Because something
Yeah.
had to die, presumably. Maybe not in the case of these
Yeah, I was
wings.
gonna say.
Something had to be,
Definitely not.
but something had to die in order to make this, and I don't want this thing to die in vain, so I will eat it.
I think with the chickens killed in the name of 7-Eleven, you were doing it a favor by getting it killed.
I
a
honestly,
mercy kill.
dude, it was just. I remember eating it, and it was painful.
Yeah, you could just you could taste that it was microwaved in the same microwave as the pizza and hot dogs and all the things that just
It was the
never been
nastiest thing I've
cleaned.
ever eaten in my entire life.
Yeah.
Talking about some of these combinations like that Domino's thing, it just makes me wonder, like, so the rooms where they come up with these ideas, is this just like a Fellini film or something?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
like they're all just doing blow and like riding horses. Because like, for one thing, beyond just why you would come up with it in the first place, why would you put it as a permanent thing on the menu that you
Yeah.
think people are going to come back and?
I have no idea.
Because
Because it's $6.99.
Yeah, well, that's the
There you
thing.
go.
It's
Yeah.
the
There you go.
cheapest meat. It's the cheapest chicken is wings,
Yeah.
and so you can sell it for cheap to the
Yeah.
people who would eat at a fucking 7-Eleven and still turn a profit on
Well,
it.
you do have to credit the Native American ethos of use every piece of the.
Yeah,
of
that's
the
true.
animal.
I had a friend who posted a picture on Facebook of it was like a parking lot in Atlanta where she lives, and there was just a bunch of chicken bones in the parking lot, and it just like in one kind of spot, and she was just like, "Why does every fucking parking lot in Atlanta have like chicken bones?" And I'm like, "Oh,
Because I was eating my lunch during work.
No, well, what I said, and this is shout out. This is my friend Emily. I was like, well, here's the thing. When someone in the household decides that everyone's going to eat healthier from now on, the person buying the groceries will buy the healthy groceries, and then on a separate ticket, ring up a half dozen wings from the deli and then
Yep.
crush them in the parking lot.
Yep,
That's
pretty
what that
much.
is.
Exactly.
Atlanta's a big wing town too. They
Yeah.
have a bunch of wing restaurants.
right. Yeah.
Legitimately.
So, Sam, what was your list again?
I did KFC, Long John Silver's, McDonald's, Burger King.
Worst wings or worst chicken?
Worst chicken. But
Worst
yeah, throw
chicken.
Domino's on there.
Yeah,
for
throw the
fucking sure.
the chicky parm
One
with
time
Domino's.
they had a special where I could add that one of those items to my pizza for like $1 or $2 cheaper, and I was like, "Fuck it, I'll do it." I was so pissed off the rest of the night.
You stole my $2.
I was fucking pissed.
Tweet at us at the Goods Pod
Yeah.
if you want to spin on the wheel.
I'll
and we'll-
spin the wheel. Spin the wheel, make the deal, baby.
Yeah, we'll discuss this on Twitter because this is a big ass wheel, and I frankly don't know how we're gonna get it out of here.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to do this again, I guess, to make you spend all this time.
Yeah, there's a lot more options we didn't hit.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
You
there's
could have
plenty
made a
more.
wheel with like 4 options.
Yeah, no, I put 25 on there.
It didn't have to be this big.
Yeah,
That's,
I mean,
you know,
and much like the
I
spin,
told them.
unlike the spin the wheel, make the deal between Sting and Jake the Snake, we didn't end up with coal miner's glove here. We ended up
Oh,
with some
man.
pretty decent topics. So
Blake, where can people find you on the internet, sir?
Oh God, I'm on Twitter as fakey_McFaker, and I believe it's the same on Instagram. So those are probably two best places.
fakey
FAKEY_McFaker.
Okay.
Yeah.
And welcome to Los Angeles.
Thank you,
On
yeah.
a permanent basis.
Very,
Yeah.
very jazzed, as you can probably tell. Yeah.
And
uh,
we'll probably have you back on
I hope
some
so. I was
occasion
gonna say, yeah,
Thank
we'll
you.
have to
to
do
talk about something that's not fast food.
Hey, or we can bring you back to spin the wheel again.
You know, I can be the wheel guy. Just
hell yeah.
the resident wheel spinner.
Sam, where can people find you?
Twitter, Slam Harder, SLAMHARTER. I'm doing heavy, low on Tuesday.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, so tonight.
Yeah.
So if you're in Los Angeles this evening, go see our friend Sam Harder in West Hollywood at the Bar Lubitsch. That's one of my favorite venues, man. I love
fun.
that spot.
It's fun.
We used to run a show there and we
Talk chicken planks.
Yeah, come talk chicken planks with Sam. Yeah, we used to run a show there and we would do sketches and stuff, but there's no backstage area, nowhere to like hide
Oh,
for a
not at all.
reveal. So we would hide. They have this little partition where that like corners into like a seat, and I remember we had Luke Jensen painted green as Frankenstein because we did a Monster Mash thing for Halloween. So he was just dressed as Frankenstein, hiding behind this little wooden partition at Bar Lubitsch for like 45 minutes while we got the crowd seated and everything.
March 20th, LA Wine Bar in Chinatown.
Ooh, hell yeah.
There's
yeah.
a wine
for
bar
me as well.
There's their wine bar in Chinatown.
Apparently there is now.
Cool. So, I'm going on the road in April and May, and so I'm going to be adding tour dates to this kind of stuff. So you can just keep checking back at my Twitter at Rivers Langley, and I'll post a big poster of all the dates and stuff before I leave. But April 13th, I'm going to be hosting the Waverly Boogie at Standard Deluxe in Waverly, Alabama. The next night, I'm going to be with a friend of the show, Ben Sawyer, in Nashville, Tennessee, at the Yazoo Comedy Hour at the Yazoo Tap Room. That's Ben's show along with Connor Larson, a real funny comic up there in Nashville, Tennessee. April 15th, Beer and Comedy Night at Sweetwater Brewery at 7 o'clock. And at 8 o'clock, I will be at the Star Community Bar in Little Five Points in Atlanta, Georgia.
Hanging out with Rodney.
Hell yeah. And April 17th, come see me in Lafayette, Louisiana at Verst Biergarten.
Speaking of gnarly bathrooms, that green room bathroom at the Star Bar.
At the Star Bar.
Woof.
Oh, man. I'm stoked. This is actually the first time I played the Star Bar. So
Star Bar's it was a great local for me.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
I'm
well-
stoked about I've seen many shows there, but
Yeah, I've seen many shows there, and it's a great place to see comedy, great place to see music, and a great place to see Rivers if you're
That's
in
right.
the
If you're in ATL.
Atlanta metro area.
And I'm going to be coming up the East Coast. I'm going to be making my way to New York City. So stay tuned for more tour dates and all that kind of good stuff. And you
Rivers Langley rocking the nation.
yeah, that's right.
Throwing chicken wings in parking lots.
I was going to say, well, I'm really this is going to be a useful episode for me because I'm gearing up to eat like shit for like a month.
Yeah.
So
If you don't know where Rivers is playing, just follow the Trail of Bones.
yeah, that's right. On parking lots across the the East Coast.
Yeah, and you can find me staring into the abyss at my desk forever.
Find us on Facebook, facebook.com/thegoodspod. We're on Twitter @thegoodspod. Every episode ever, youtube.com/thegoodspod. Big shout out to our friend Richard Eden up there in the Klondike. Hey, it's the Yukon Comedy Festival this week. Go up there and see Tom Goss if you can make it to the Arctic fucking Circle. That's going to be fun. Shout out to him over at the Brain Freeze Podcast Network and thegoodspod.com. Pat, what's the folks do when they get to iTunes?
Rate, review, subscribe, leave a comment. Shows the attitude of gratitude.
And if you don't have the attitude of gratitude, fuck you.
Eat Domino's chicken.
We'll see you next week.
Rock and roll McDonald. 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 Rock over London, rock on Chicago. Wheaties, that's the breakfast of town.
The Goods from the Woods was mixed, edited, and distributed by me, Rivers Langley. You can find the show on Twitter @TheGoodsPod. Our theme song was composed by DJ Smiles. Check him out on Twitter @DJ Smiles.
This was a Brain Freeze podcast.